going on YouTube, going on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Wanted to talk about kind of how I felt about some of the things that Tim Worley said, and it forced me to reassess my opinion of players sitting out games. And after reading his article, and for those of you who haven't read it, go read Tim Worley's article. He I think states the case for players being in the game, having the right attitude, probably better than I ever could. Obviously, he's speaking from a point of authority as far as somebody who actually played the game at Georgia. I have to agree with him now. Typically I'm not somebody who will flip-flop on a lot of things, but after watching some of the articles or some of the videos I've seen about not Uncle Lou. I watched Uncle Lou's too, but how some of them described the way that the players should commit to the team, and I ended up coming up to the conclusion that I absolutely have to agree. I think that if you're going to play for University of Georgia, if you're going to play for the team, then that's exactly who you play for. Because not all of the players on that team are going to be able to sit out that game. And you choosing to sit out, while I can understand it, I also understand the other side of the coin, where there's players who are not going to declare for the draft. They're going to play in that game. And with you sitting out, you're really taking your own you're putting yourself ahead of the team. That's really what it boils down to. And I never looked at it that way. I think it's kind of selfish. I don't think it is kind of selfish. I think it's very selfish, especially when there's other players on that team that this may very well be their last college football game. They may never well play football again. There may be players that this is it for them. And you choosing to sit on the sideline because you're going to declare for the draft is quite frankly now I feel unacceptable. If you're going to play in any game, then you play in all the games if you are physically able. So that's kind of how I feel about that. The trolls down in the comment section are ever active. We appreciate you guys. I like the fact that my commentary bothers you guys enough that you feel like you got to jump down there and razz me. You're not going to say anything so creative I haven't heard it before, but if you want to jump down there, go ahead, guys. Feel free. A lot of you guys I just laugh at. So, especially with some of you guys' stats. It's like you guys just throw random stats out there comparing Mark Ricth to Kirby Smart and it's the selective fact finding, and that's it's bad. It doesn't really get any worse than that, because it's so easy to turn around and pull the same stats you're pulling and show you all the stuff that you omitted. So whatever. As far as tonight's game, it doesn't really matter to me as far as how bad how bad Clemson's going to win or how bad Alabama's going to win. The only dog I have in that fight is that I pull for the SEC, even though it's Alabama. The fact that Alabama beat Georgia, it didn't beat us by much, but they beat us. As a Georgia fan, you kind of need them to win because it makes Georgia look better. And by the way, for those trolls down in the comment section that say I make up excuses, I think you guys have a difficult time understanding the difference between an excuse and reality. An excuse is I couldn't be to work on time because I had a flat tire. That's an excuse. Boss, I couldn't be to work because on my way to work, somebody ran into me and there's nothing I can do to stop that. That's an excuse. The fact of the matter is that, yeah, those are excuses, but they're also the reality. If you're just making up an excuse as to why it didn't matter, then yeah, that's pointless. But if it's the reality, it's the reality. It is what it is. And I think some of you guys have a problem understanding that. There's YouTube videos on the difference between the two. Go watch some of those. So if I say Georgia had a bad game, Georgia had a bad game, at least in my opinion. If I say Georgia didn't literally look like they cared about playing that game, that's how they looked to me. I'm not excusing the team's performance. I'm not saying that their performance was acceptable. That's not it at all. I'm saying this is what happened. And I think sometimes that gets a little bit spun around. I'm not ever going to say, that defeat is acceptable. I'm just saying this is why it happened and this is what we need to fix. Understanding why your team is falling apart is important, because if you don't see what's wrong, how are you ever going to fix it? Okay, off of that, back to we've had several guys declare for the draft. We'd have a couple of transfers. Kind of wanted to get into that real quick. I don't care that Justin Fields is transfer. Good night, that guy's flying through the parking lot. I don't really care that Justin Fields is transferring. Oh, it's 5-star quarterback. Fine, commit to the G or don't. I can't help you with that. Justin Fields probably does need to go play somewhere else. Clearly, the offensive coordinator that we currently have is not going to put him in to play. He's not going to design plays for the guy. Most of the time, whenever you have a quarterback that has a differing style, and it's important to recognize when they have a different style, because you have to develop plays and play schemes to put those guys in so that they're effective. Whenever they tried to plug Justin Fields into the current plays that we had, or make him, an 8-string running back, he's not gonna be effective. He's not gonna look effective. Every now and then, when you give him a shot to take downfield, he's gonna look pretty good. So, am I mad that Justin Fields is transferring? No, I'm not. I think Justin Fields needs to transfer and go play somewhere. However, I don't think he's going to get a very warm reception at Ohio State. It doesn't look like they're willing to work with him. I think he's jumping from one side of the fence to the other, and the grass ain't always greener, or whatever analogy you want to put on it. I think Justin Fields has got a lot of work to do ahead of him. He's got a whole new playbook to learn. Somebody said something about his coordinator over here knew that guy in high school, something. It doesn't matter. It's still college football. He's got to learn the college football playbook. Is he going to do that in a year? No. Is he going to get a waiver? Nobody knows. So in all likelihood, he could be another year or two before he ever plays. He's probably not going to play this year. And if he jumps out there and says for whatever reason that this is why he's transferring, fine. But I would much more respect if he came out and he said, "Hey, look, I'm transferring for Georgia because they don't have play calls that's designed for me to play. They really won't let me play. I got to go somewhere I'm going to play. I'm too talented of a player." I'd say, you know what, I respect that. But if you hang it on any other BS reason, I'm going to lose a lot of respect for you. On top of that, what else? Oh yeah. So with the players that we have declaring for the draft and the players that we have that are transferring, it's going to free up some scholarships for us, which is awesome. It's going to give us the ability to pick up some other guys out there that we probably would not have picked up. But I'm fine with guys going pro if they want to go pro. I'm fine with it. That's really what it's all about, is that they want to come to Georgia to get the play time, to get developed so that they can go pro. And when they go pro, it's kind of hard to be mad at them for that. Let's see, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? It'll come back to me in just a second. It's been a long day. It's possible that Georgia could take over Alabama for the number 1 recruiting spot. I am happy to see that Rodrigo Blankenship is staying. There's a couple of other players that are staying for his senior year. Can't remember, what was that guy's name? Oh yeah, Reed. It was Reed. He's staying, and there was a couple other guys. But the fact of the matter is, I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, what's Georgia going to do with all these guys going pro?" Same thing we do. We just reload and keep going. That's what Georgia's new program design is designed and developed to do, is to go pro, to help these kids go pro, and then reload them with better and fresh talent. We've got a boatload of freshmen that are on scholarship, and this is going to be their second year, so we're going to have a lot of sophomores on the field who's had a year of experience. The good news is that Georgia's had the opportunity to play some higher tiered ranked opponents. And so they'll be able to, and I won't say hope, because Tim Worley absolutely obliterated Kirby Smart for saying hope. I am sure these players will better respect their position next year, and Kirby Smart will get rid of this sense of entitlement. There's no way that Kirby Smart missed that article that Tim Worley wrote. I'm sure it was put on his desk the next day, and that he was forced to diagnose it and break it down, and, you know, for himself, and say, hey, maybe this is a change I need to make as a head coach. You know, this is his, you know, he's still young as far as coaching careers go. A lot of fans out there are already trying to draw comparisons between him and Mark Ricth. Listen, sit down, drink your coffee, drink your tea, calm down, because he's getting talent to come to Georgia that we never got before. He's got us to win the SEC East 2 years in a row, and an SEC championship, a college football playoff berth, and a play in a national championship game, all in just a few years. And he's brand new. He's still learning too. So to put that in perspective, if he was a redshirt true freshman his first year at Georgia, went 8-5. Last year he was a sophomore. This year he's a junior. Next year he'll be a senior. There's guys playing in college football right now that have been playing college football on the field longer than he's been a coach on the field. I know he played football a long time ago, but today's football is a little bit different as far as being a head coach goes. And in case y'all forgot, he does have national championship rings, so he's had some experience there. I don't believe Mark Ricth's got any of those. And Mark Ricth, matter of fact, Mark Ricth ain't even coaching no more. So stop drawing the comparisons between Mark Ricth and Kirby Smart, because it's not fair. It's not right. Oh, Kirby, Mark Ricth won a SEC in this second year, third year. Yeah, okay. I can guarantee you that if Mark Ricth was to play a Nick Saban Alabama team right now, it would look just as bad, if not worse, than their Wisconsin game. Do you guys not remember back whenever Alabama came to Athens and run us out of the stadium 50-10? Now ask yourself, if you had to choose between a Mark Ricth team playing against Nick Saban or a Kirby Smart team playing against Nick Saban, which one would you pick? Because I know which one I'd pick. I know which one I'd pick in a heartbeat. So please, stop with all the Mark Ricth Kirby Smart comparison, because it's not even close to being accurate. I can show you statistic after statistic after statistic how they're different. All you can do is show me 2 or 3 things how they're similar. Well, sure, they're similar. They both got 2 legs, they both got 2 arms, both got 2 eyes and 2 ears. Yeah, they're totally just alike. Come on now, wake up. All right, guys. So as we get close to signing day, as we go through some of the more recruiting stuff, I'll try to keep you guys updated. I'm going to be watching the college football playoff game. I'll more likely than not make videos during that. So if you guys want to watch, that's great. If not, hey, we'll see you next time. Hey, you guys have a great day. And as always, God bless and go Dogs.